So as we know, kids are chaos. There's the good kind of chaos that's still happening here at Breakaway, and then there's all the other kinds of chaos. In my home, we've unlocked a new level in the last few weeks where my youngest just started walking. And if you've ever seen a little baby turn into a toddler as they start walking, not only is it just the cutest thing, but they are just crazy. They don't know how to control themselves while they have sort of the mechanics of taking one step after the other. They can't really control where they're going, and they can't really stop. And we were playing out in the backyard, and I noticed we had sort of this safe area for my son to play in, but there was a ditch that my husband had dug a few weeks before as he was working on the water drainage in our backyard. And it was almost like, without even trying, my son could not help but start walking that direction. He could not help but start walking towards the ditch. And every single time I would watch him start to catch some momentum as he was walking over to this, and I would always catch him before he got to it, pick him up, turn him around, and set him back in the safe area to play. And we did this probably what felt like 100 times. Every time he would start walking towards his own destruction, I would pick him up, turn him around, and set him safely. And I had one of those moments, I don't know if you've ever had that, where you just kind of feel the Lord maybe just kind of smiling at you, of like, you see that? And I noticed that in those moments, I was reminded of the fact that not only has God done that for all of eternity for us, that while we were walking towards our own destruction, He picked us up, turned us around, and set us towards safety. But that He doesn't just stop there, that salvation isn't just this ticket to heaven that the gospel gives us. But I noticed that what made the difference, even when I went to do this with my son, was not only did I pick him up and turn him around, but then I decided to hold his hand and walk him back towards the house. And I realized that for us, sometimes we forget that salvation isn't just something we wait for in heaven, but we experience the gift of heaven even here and now, that God has given us His Spirit to walk with us. Galatians 5 uses all this beautiful language about talking about life in the Spirit. And Paul uses phrases like, keep in step with the Spirit, walk by the Spirit. And I don't think he's just talking about walk in the way of the Spirit, although he is. But there's something to be said for this withness, this closeness that God's given us in His presence. That He hasn't just turned us around and sent us on our way and hope for the best, but He's walking with us. And we just recently were talking about this with students, and we challenged them with, what's the best part of being a Christian? And that's always such a funny answer, because everyone's like, it seems like there's a right answer that they're supposed to get. And the resounding answer was, well, the relationship with God. And afterwards I said, great, what do we know about God's Spirit? And the room was pretty silent. And I'm reminded of the fact that sometimes we miss out on what's good in front of us here and now, that God doesn't tell us just to wait for heaven to be with us, but that He's a God of invitation here and now, saying, I want you to walk with me because I'm already walking with you. And so today, would you be encouraged the fact that not only is God already walking with you, but He's inviting you to walk with Him, to keep in step with Him.